I like Baylor to beat Auburn as an underdog in Waco this week. Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn cannot enjoy hearing that. I'll lay out my thinking, Blackerby, before you jump all over me here.
Okay.
I like that Baylor is at home. Oh, you're so welcome.
I'm already having a good time.
I know. I bet you are so happy you agreed to do this, but you're contractually obligated at some level. So, first of all, at home in week 1, when you are going to have a sloppy, I expect, tight game because not everyone is in the middle of the season yet. They haven't worked out all the kinks. I like having the home crowd behind you. That's number 1. Number 2, I trust Sawyer Robertson more than I trust Jackson Arnold. And number 3, this one's closer because I know everybody's riding the Dave Aranda hype train because of how they finished last year. I'm not someone who forgets the first half of seasons. You know, they finished on a W6 in the regular season, but they started 2-4. I was there for that part too. I trust Dave Aranda a little more than Hugh Freeze. That one's like 52-48 at this point. So that's the foundation of my reasoning why I like Baylor to win this week, even though Hugh Freeze really needs this game.
Yeah, I definitely think Auburn needs it more than Baylor does. I think Baylor can achieve more of their goals this season with a loss. With Auburn, I think it's a pretty ridiculously tough uphill battle if they drop it. Not impossible, but it gets significantly tougher if they lose it Friday. To me, I think the biggest difference and what Auburn needs to kind of show and play the card over and over and over again is talent. I mean, they show up on all the good, rankings when it comes to consistent recruiting rankings, transfer portal, and the blue chip ratio. Some people are really into that. And when it comes to talent, Spencer, it's not close. And in fact, in pretty much every position, you take Auburn. And if you want to say Baylor has a better quarterback than Auburn, I'm not going to push back on that at all. But those two guys aren't on the field at the same time. Like Jackson Arnold and Sawyer Robertson aren't playing against each other. But when you look at what Sawyer Robertson's throwing into, I think it's a much tougher situation than what Jackson Arnold will be throwing into, as well as, what Baylor's running backs are going to be running into and Jackson Arnold's running backs are going to be running into. I just think, I think from a matchup standpoint, in the matchups that typically define football games, on paper, which is all we can do right now, on paper, I think Auburn does have the edge here.
I think it's understandable why they're favored. Like that's not the part that surprises me,
because they weren't favored like a month ago. Like for the bulk of the off season.
Well, but then SEC media days happen.
Well,
if you look at the number
doesn't make sense though. The timing
doesn't.
No,
none of it makes sense. Why did SEC teams move up and ESPN's FPI and ACC teams got moved down when no major roster changes happen after media days? It's just
okay. I thought you were alluding to the Malcolm Simmons stuff because that's
no, not
shows. It's like Malcolm Simmons, like he didn't move the line 3 points. That's crazy.
No. That's not what I'm getting at. I just think that as you think and talk about this stuff more and as it gets put out there, I think a lot more money comes in on one particular side. The FPI thing is just weird.
It the other way, though, right? That's what you're saying, right?
No,
because
I'm saying I'm
moved up.
Yeah, I think that those sorts of
the other way.
No, hypothetical matchups. I think post SEC media days on paper have shifted in the SEC's favor in a number of ways. Meaning that people were saying, "Wait a minute, Auburn plus 1.5."
I think I'm going to put after that, though. I think the line moved towards Baylor after that.
But Baylor was favored at one point in time, and it is now Auburn minus 2.5.
Correct.
Going into the game. That's
correct.
what I'm saying.
The timeline on that is off, but that part is correct.
Okay, so I just think that I don't think that there's a huge gap.
It's a weird matchup. It's a weird matchup, and a lot of the national folks are saying Auburn. ESPN's ESPN analytics percentages give Baylor like 52%, which I mean this is close. What's interesting is both sides are so confident. And I don't know if either side really has like the full footing to be confident, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But both sides are, which has the makings for an incredible matchup on Friday night to really get the college football season going.
Yeah, I think this, along with Colorado, Georgia Tech that I talked about earlier on the show, is such an outstanding Friday night slate, and reaction shows from both of those games will be up here on this feed as soon as humanly possible on Friday night. And I'm not just saying that because I technically work for the guy I'm talking to right now, but I think that in this game, Zach.
What do you mean technically? Why was that needed?
Well, my paycheck doesn't come in every month from Zac Blackerby.
No, it doesn't. Thankfully, thankfully it does not.
Or I wouldn't be living in this apartment by myself right now.
Sure,
I'd have a different situation. But getting back to the game,
right?
I don't think there's a coach in college football, aside from Brian Kelly, maybe, that needs a win more than Hugh Freeze. I could even argue, because Hugh Freeze is going to Baylor and Brian Kelly's going to Clemson, who people like myself have picked to win the national championship this year, I think you can readily make the case that Hugh Freeze is under the most pressure in the country to win, because if this doesn't look good, if it's not just a loss, let's say, if it looks bad, not necessarily them getting blown out, but let's say it's sloppy, it's the same sorts of problems that have plagued them over the last couple of years, man, I think Auburn fans are going to revolt, and I don't know that I'd be able to blame them.
I don't think it matters what it looks like. If you lose, it's going to be chaotic, and it's going to look bad, because I mean, I know you're picking Baylor, but I don't think you would push back on, like, you didn't push back when I said it a second ago. Like, Auburn has the better roster, right?
100%. Yeah. No, on paper, like, the talent is there to win the game.
Hugh Freeze, like, you can't hide behind it anymore if you lose. So 100%, 100%, and it's so big for Hugh Freeze and it's big for Auburn to win this game. Not because you're beating Baylor, but just because of what a loss could do to this program. I mean, you've stacked multiple, like, really, really elite recruiting classes and elite transfer portal classes to build a roster that you should feel like you can compete with and win with. And if you can't, what's the point? Like, why are we even doing this? So yeah, it'd be bad. And I don't want to downplay Baylor, because I think Baylor's a good team, but Auburn's not going to get this massive jump of approval because they went to Waco and won.
It's almost like, to me, and I want your thoughts on this, Hugh Freeze gets punished more with a loss than he gets credit for a win.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to say what I was trying to say. 100%.
Yeah. So something else I'd like your thoughts on here for this game before I get your pick.
What? So you've got Baylor. Like, what's your score here?
I think this is a low scoring game. I've been pretty consistent. Lower than most people think too. Yeah, the over under is 58.5 according to our friends at FanDuel, who are fantastic, by the way. I'd say that the under there feels pretty solid to me. Now, that comes down to Baylor's defense, but that's Dave Aranda's calling card. That's his side of the ball. I think he'll have those guys as ready to go as he can be. I know you've got quarterbacks who aren't playing college football for the first time, but I think this is 27-20 Baylor, and I think you're well under that 58.5 number. That just wouldn't shock me. And maybe
my pick's been 27-17 Auburn. But yeah, so
I don't think it sniffs 58 points. I really don't. It would be exciting if it does, because I think that means you have a lot of back and forth. Offenses are clicking. That's always fun. But maybe I'm reading too much into this next point that I wanted to raise. And I just need to ask you, as someone who covers Auburn every single day, I think that's how we roll here at the Locked On Network.
Every day. Your team.
Who's calling plays for the Tigers?
Yeah. I think it's Hugh Freeze. I know there's a lot made about.
You think, but you don't know.
I'm pretty confident. It's Hugh Freeze. So my theory on why they have to answer this weirdly, it goes back to when Auburn hired Derek Nix to be their offensive coordinator away from Ole Miss last offseason. And Lane Kiffin kind of fought it, because in his contract language, Derek Nix's contract language with Ole Miss is you can't leave unless it's for a better job, which as a coordinator, you're almost assuming like you're leaving for a head coach, but he didn't call plays there. So Auburn's argument is, well, he's now calling plays for Auburn. And so, they made a clear point that he was calling plays last year. That's what he said. Anytime there was a chance for Hugh Freeze to publicly credit Derek Nix with a play call last year in postgame, he did it. I've had conversations with every single one of Auburn's quarterbacks that were on the roster last year, which none of them are now, which is kind of wild. But it was Hugh Freeze telling them what play to run.
Okay. That's one of several reasons that I've got pause on Auburn. Like, the mismatched and does that worry you at all?
No.
Okay.
No, because I don't think there are things that worry me about the offensive game plan. Who's calling the play is not a thing. So the tweets that went viral about that, I asked around, like, I think we're making a big deal out of nothing here. I mean, everybody on staff has a guy that's over first down. They may not be calling it, but as far as the strategy of it, there's a guy that watches first down. There's a guy who watches third down. There's probably a guy that watches third and short, third and medium, third and long, and they all work together to make a play sheet. That's pretty standard. The way it was lined out in the tweets that went viral, I think were a little, I don't want to say misleading, but I do think it kind of, I don't know if it painted the full picture correctly based off of conversations that I've had.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see how it goes on Friday night in
Now, if you want to say,
Waco.
like, okay, has Hugh Freeze, has he put together game plans where he's lost to inferior opponents fairly consistently? That's the concern.
Watched it happen last year.
I don't think that's where I'm like really concerned about this. Is, are you going to lay an egg like you did to New Mexico State or last year to Arkansas or Cal or Oklahoma throwing a pick six, or you have Mizzou right where you want them? It would have been a ranked win on the road and you fall apart in that final drive, or the 4th and 31 in the Iron Bowl, or your first year hosting Georgia. You're up in the fourth quarter and you let Brock Bowers do whatever you want. It's those things that give me concern. It's not who's calling plays.
High pressure in Waco on Friday night for the Auburn Tigers. They are the team covered by that man, Zac Blackerby of Locked On Auburn Tigers. That's today's show. I'll be back in your feed quicker than you can say college football. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Not down.
Oh my gosh, I have to leave that in now.